I want to share with you tips for a one light portable photography setup. Okay, first of all, let's just assume you have a camera. Now, if you don't have a camera, I would recommend that you get a camera that has a viewfinder. Now, what's a viewfinder? A viewfinder is this eyepiece right here at the top of the camera that will allow you to look through here to see through what your composition will be. Now, as opposed to the viewfinder, some cameras only have the back monitor. Can you use that? Yes, but with your photography, you want to try to see through the viewfinder so that you can pick the specific spot on the person's face that you want to be in focus. Now, if you're taking a landscape picture or something like that, it wouldn't matter as much, but just imagine if the sun was out, you're outside, the sun is out, you're gonna have a hard time seeing this. That's why you put your eye up to the viewfinder to cut out any ambient light so that you can actually see what you're focusing on. Now, brand-wise, they're all good ultimately. For lens recommendation, I would recommend a 24-70 on a full frame, or if you're on an APC or a crop sensor camera, somewhere between a 16-50. So those would be about equivalent area of view compared to each other, meaning the full frame versus the crop sensor. What's the biggest difference between those two? Well, it's going to be the amount of light that sensor can actually take in. Also, the depth of field, meaning how much blur you can get or separation. You want to look at some sort of light. Now, I would recommend the Godox 8200. Now, 200 watts is enough to do your photography in most situations. Now, if you're outside in the bright sun, 200 watts may not be enough to overpower the sun, but with the right settings on your camera, you can still pull off your photography. Another accessory that you will have to have with your flash is a trigger. So ultimately, what your trigger is going to do is you have this up on the stand somewhere. You have this mounted to the top of your camera, but you're set your camera to the ambient light, which 9 times out of 10 is going to mean that your subject is going to be a little dark. You're just going to use your strobe just to add a kiss of light, just to brighten them up, to give them separation between the background. So when you set your light up, you're going to have your trigger on top of your camera, and each time you pop. Now, I would recommend that you practice this before you actually get a paying customer or client or whatever to pay you, so that you're aware of where your starting point is with your specific camera. To hold this, I would recommend that you get this Godox S2 bracket. This bracket will mount to the top of your light stand, and you will simply slide your light in here, tighten down on it, and you'll be able to tilt your light to wherever angle you want it to be. And again, you're off to the races. Now, light stands. You're gonna have to have a light stand. You can go as simple or easy as one of these lightweight light stands. But now, if you go with a lightweight light stand like this, be very careful with it, especially when you take it outside, because on top of this, you're going to have to put some type of light and water fire on there, whether it's an umbrella or a soft box of some sort, some shape of your desire. Once you do that, it becomes a little top heavy, and on top of that, when the wind blows, it becomes a sail. So if you can, have someone to hold it. But a better light stand than this one would be a C stand. Now, I'm using mine right now in the studio, so I'm going to show you a B-roll shot of it. With the C stand, you can actually use weights on there, and the weights will actually help hold it down a lot better. Now, the modifier that you want to use, you can go from anything from a translucent umbrella and with this same bracket you can slide your umbrella in, or if you don't want to do an umbrella, and again remember this, whatever you're putting on here as a light modifier, it's going to just turn into a sail. Any wind that blows outside, it's going to carry your light away. So if you're like me and you shoot by yourself, make sure you have some weights on there, somewhere to hold it down. If you can get someone else to hold it, that would be great also, but better safe than sorry. If you can do both, do both. Have the weight and someone holding your light. So what I typically use for a light modifier is the same modifier I'm using right now to shoot this video, which is a 34-inch Beauty Dish by Glow. But for right now, let's just imagine this softbox, which is a 10 by 24, but disregard the size. Just want to show you what I'm talking about as far as this will actually attach to this S mount via a Bowens mount that's on your softbox. And again guys, you're ready to go. Now that bonus that I was telling you about is the sandbags. The sandbags I use are by Impact. It holds about 27 pounds of sand. Now, of course, when I bought it, it's just the satchel itself. I had to buy the sand separately. What I did was I put the sand in a few Ziploc bags and I taped those bags up, and then I stuck them in here and I put those bags again in plastic bags. But nonetheless, you can kind of see they're in here, and for safety purposes, it actually has two zippers that you have to zip up to conceal, just to try to help hold whatever you put in here, be it gravel, sand, dirt. You just want something that's dense and heavy. It's just that simple. You have your camera, you have your desired lens. Now, yes, I did say a 24-70 or 16-50 millimeter lens, according to what type of camera you're on. But over time, you'll get a chance to see whether you need a lens that has a longer range on it or a wider range. Over time, as you see the pictures you take, you'll get an understanding of what it is that you need, more so than just the typical or generic suggestions. The reason I recommend that the Godox 80-200 is because of their price point, plus you get a chance to build onto that light. So say for instance you wanted some stronger lights. Well, you have several options within that system, and you can still use that same trigger within your system. Case in point. So say for instance you did need more power. You can start off with the 80-200, buy a second one where you're able to remove the Fresnel off of the strobe, add the strobe to this Godox adapter, and you can use the bulbs then by placing them into the adapter, and you can convert your two 80-200s into a single 400 watt strobe. And again, you still have the capabilities of putting your softbox or your umbrella through the hole. Well, let's just say 400 watts isn't enough for you. You can go up to 600 watts also. Again, that's why I recommend looking for a system that you can grow with.
Now, the second bonus I want to give you is a tip to consider using an ND filter. An ND filter is kind of like sunglasses for your camera, or more so for your lens. It'll cut down the amount of light that enters through your lens. So instead of having to adjust your aperture or increase your shutter speed, or even adjusting your ISO, you can cut down the amount of light that your camera sees. Now doing so will allow you to also reduce the amount of power that you need in your flash. Now, full transparency, I have not been successful with an ND filter. I've only tried one, and as far as getting that sharp image that I typically like to get, my images usually come out soft with this particular filter. I do have friends who have been successful.
So look, I hope these recommendations help. If they help you, how about helping me? Hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom. See you soon. God bless.